Hi, this is Steve at Hilltops IT, and in this video I'm going to take another look at what seems to be one of my favourite subjects at the moment, which is the QuoteWerks Web API and the AI Assistant. What I want to share with you in this video is a tip, just a very quick tip, and that tip is to build up your scripts, build up your JavaScripts that the AI Assistant generates gradually, and I'll show you why I suggest that as a good tip. If you watch the series on where I was exploring calling web services for QuoteWerks Web API, you remember I had quite a verbose description of what I wanted the AI Assistant to generate for me. It was going to go off and grab some data from a web service. It was going to present that in a form. The user was going to be able to select different options on that form. Once the user submitted that, they were then going to the script was then going to call out to another web service API, and finally save any changes that the user made to the database. Now that was quite a lot for the AI Assistant to do, and I was, if you go back to the video, I was incredibly impressed with what it did. It wasn't quite right, it wasn't 100%, but it was definitely a lot quicker using the AI Assistant than it was for me to handcraft the script myself. For the more observant of you, you'll notice that I'm now talking to our live server. I kind of got the idea for this change, and I thought I'd share it as a tip from part of the transition over, just to run the script, just to remind you what it does. So it goes away. It asks us to select an integration type, a object type, and a process. When I submit that, that presents me with the settings that it's pulled out of the offline database. And what I noticed was this capitalization edition, that's okay, is on SQL. That could be a bit more readable, is space on space SQL. That kind of anomaly, if you like, gets even worse if you're as pedantic as I am. If we look at the MSB sales order settings, if I submit that, we've got, could be customer space ID, DH space billing space city space field. Now maybe I'm on some sort of OCD spectrum or something like that, but that kind of little thing kind of bugs me. That's why I'm very particular about the way that we craft connected products. I like to think it is that attention to detail that makes them so good. Obviously slight bias there. Anyway, I thought, well, trying to describe that in that already incredibly verbose script, and having to, well, as I said, what was generated by the AI Assistant wasn't 100% perfect. I'd made a lot of changes. There are even more changes once I transitioned to the live environment, quirks of web services. We won't get into that. But anyway, trying to describe that in this script, it was just like, no, let's start somewhere else. Now I could have gone to another AI assistant, whether that be Microsoft or Google's or X's, but I thought, well, let's just use the QuoteWerks one. That's pretty good at producing scripts for QuoteWerks. Does it also do sort of general JavaScript stuff? Well, of course it does. So what I asked it to do was, can you create a function that accepts a string value input, returns a string value output, and the function should take the input parameter, look for capitals, and put spaces before them. So an input string like "this is a string" should be outputted "this space is space a space string." Nice and easy. let's see what the AI Assistant generates for us. And I'm very pleased to see that it's done exactly what it did last time. So it's created a nice little function, add spaces before capitals. It's using a regex to replace certain characters with space characters. So it's taken all the capitals and replacing any capitals with space capital. What's also nice about this is it's trimming it. If we took this is a string, that could potentially come out as space this is a string, which wouldn't be ideal, but with that trim at the end, it's going to get rid of that preceding space. What's also nice about this is defined our constant, calling the function, and it's also outputting that. So it's given me a ready-made way to be able to test this function. This console.log, you get to that by going to the three dots in your top right menu. If you go to more tools, then developer tools, that will open up the debugging sort of area, the developer tools area of Google Chrome. So if we now run that, as you can see there, we've got this space is space a space string. Great. Let's just prove that it wasn't a fluke. Let's change that to one of the captions. One of the captions we had was is on SQL, I think. So let's see what we get outputted this time. Okay, in on SQL. That should have been is, but anyway, is on SQL. Now that's not ideal. Again, maybe I'm being pedantic, but I don't want S space Q space L. So let's modify what we are asking the assistant to do for a moment. If I just grab my notepad, let's open up the AI assistant again. Let's get rid of that over there a bit. Okay, this time I'm asking it in that first paragraph exactly the same as before. If there are a series of capital letters like SQL, A, B, C, D, E, F, or anything that's not just A, because A could be a word in its own right, then there should be no spaces. So is on SQL should be A to output it is space on space SQL. Let's see what AI generates for us this time. Okay, another combination of regex. I won't get into that, but it's replacing letters and then, it's replacing certain characters with spaces before them and then undoing it for certain other characters. And again, it's given me this nice little kind of test harness, if you like. In fact, no, it hasn't. It's done something different this time. It's going to prompt the user. Okay, I love doing these things live. It's going to prompt us with what it's got. So input this. This is a string as it is on SQL. As you can see, it's outputted it correctly. That's really good fun. The last one just did the same output to the console window, so we don't need that again. But yeah, as you can see, it's created my function. So now what I can do is go back to that good script that I know that I had for the big process where I'm grabbing stuff from the connected database. And what I will do is I'll just grab the whole thing. Let's drop that in there. So I've made a couple of changes to this since we last saw it. The first is I've put that format string into our new function. The second thing that I have done is when we call that form with all the settings, which is here, I am formatting that, or calling the format string function to recapitalize everything with the setting.setting value. So now if we run that script, and I'll do the QuoteWerks database settings first of all, and is on SQL, is space on space SQL, nice and tidy, lovely. And running it again, this time with the Business Central sales order functions. Submit, and we've got customer space ID, DH, space billing, space city, space field. A lot more user friendly, infinitely more clear to the user as to what's going on. I'm sure you'll agree. Anyway, my slight tendency for OCD aside, that's my tip. Break things down, build things up, and if you aren't getting the output that you necessarily expect, you can't really understand why the AI isn't producing the results that you want, or rather, when you try and run the script, it isn't producing the results that you want, then put those steps in there. Try and simplify it as much as possible. Take out the good stuff, put it to one side, put it in one notepad, work on the next bit, the next bit, the next bit, and just gradually build it up until you get the result that you're after. I hope you found this useful and interesting. If you'd like to know more, then don't hesitate to get in touch. You can go to our website, hilltopsit.co.uk. You can contact us. All sorts of email addresses, phone numbers. If you prefer social media, you can contact us through social media. But any which way, if you're experimenting with QuoteWerks Web and the new API features, be very, very interested in knowing what it is that you're trying to do with it, and also be very interested in the kind of successes that you're having.